Hello everyone, and welcome to another Tamagotchi Nano review video. This time I'm going to be reviewing and going over the Kingdom Hearts Anniversary Tamagotchi. Now, I do kind of like the shells on these. It comes in two shells, the light version, the dark version, and I do like the light one's got kind of like a pearl kind of colouring to the white there. It's not just standard white, which makes it look kind of regal almost. But the dark shell is also quite nice. I've seen pictures of it online, but honestly I think I would have preferred the dark one looking at pictures online. It's a nice colour, but I do like that sort of shiny pearl colour there. So as you can see, I've got the death screen because I let my Tamagotchi die, so we will hatch a new one. I believe it's C. Yeah, you hold down C and you press A. So we get up the startup animation again. Now, I should mention before I really get into this is that I am feeling kind of burnt out on human Tamagotchi Nanos, and what I mean by that is that any Tamagotchi Nano where instead of raising a creature or some kind of monster or some kind of character that isn't a human, a lot of these Tamagotchi Nanos have been humans, where you just raise a human and the only evolution is they either change into it, they go from like not a character from the show or whatever to becoming a character from that show, or just changing clothes, like is in the case with this Tamagotchi as well as the upcoming Miku Tamagotchi, where most of the evolutions, quote unquote, are just clothing changes. There are different characters you can get, but they're more like just special characters that are the harder to get ones, but most of the evolutions, well, quote-unquote evolutions, are just clothing changes. So I have this on mute, so I'll go ahead and unmute it, which you do by pressing C and then A. You navigate to on. Now, another thing to notice about this is that, interestingly, the menu options are in English, rather than having an icon that we've seen in a lot of the other ones. Usually it's like this, where we have icons, but it just gives us them for the food choices, but usually it's also in this menu as well. I do like when they give us the food icons rather than any text. We have had a few that has just been in Japanese, and those are the ones that don't really see an international release. Like the Tarubuchi, for example, has all their menus in Japanese, which usually would be fine for me because I do read Japanese, but it's in kanji, and while I can read kanji, they don't really fit on the screen. So this is better than having it in, kanji that's almost impossible to read because of the amount of pixels required. But I do prefer the icons just because it does make it more accessible to various other languages. So yes, we do have stars as the food. Again, I'm not actually familiar with the Kingdom Hearts franchise, so this is probably completely meaningful to someone who knows the games or knows the story. And they also, I guess it's one of those, I think they're like salt ice creams, they're quite popular in Japan. So that's the snack. We can check the status by pressing C. And he's fairly happy because I've just given him food and snacks. And then of course we have the games, which are always the similar sort of selection of games for all the Nanos. So we'll go through them again. I know we went through them for the unboxing, but I'll go through them again just for the purpose of this video. So this one's an obstacle one, which I'm terrible at. You kind of dodge the the asteroids, and as you can see, I'm terrible at it. So I went to the time, and yes, as you just saw, the middle button gets you to the time, which you can also change by pressing A and C at the same time when you're on the time screen. So what I like about all the Nanos, and this isn't unique to this Nano, it's all of them, is that the games are fairly quick. As you can see, that was less than a minute long, and all the games are fairly quick. You can do them fairly quickly, which is something I do appreciate from it. I don't like when a Tamagotchi has games that just take far too long. Oh, this one's a button mashing one, of course. So this is another Tamagotchi game that's from most of the nanos. I can't recall off the top of my head any of the nanos that don't have the button mashing game. It's usually my favourite because I can just do it without even looking at the screen. And then there's the third game, most nanos having 3 games, which is a Hercules game. And this one is the Simon Says game, yep. So yeah, that is something I appreciate, is that the games on all the nanos are incredibly quick and easy. There's not really much skill to them, the hardest ones being like the timing ones or the obstacle ones. But then again, and even then, they are fairly easy, and they're quick anyway. So the evolution requirements for each character is sort of dependent on how many perfect games you play, which games you play, and what type of food you give it. So if you give it no snacks, or all snacks and no games, that it kind of determines what evolutions you'll get from your little character, who I believe is Sora. That's about all I know from the Kingdom Hearts franchise. So yeah, the games are quick. It's nice compared to other Tamagotchis that aren't nanos, where the games are quite long, they're not that rewarding, and some of them aren't that fun. So I do appreciate that from the nano. However, this nano feels almost identical to most of the other nanos where you're raising a person, like the Demon Slayer one, the Jujutsu Kaisen one, all the ones where you're raising a person. The equivalent to the cleaning up poo, which is in a regular Tamagotchi, is you're defeating, I believe it's called a Heartless. That's like the poo equivalent, and in the same way on the Demon Slayer and Jujutsu Kaisen nanos, you are also defeating something as the poo equivalent. So it just feels very samey to all the other ones where you're just raising a person rather than raising a monster or a character. And as far as I know about this franchise, is that it feels like honestly a missed opportunity. And I did see a few comments saying just as much from the on the unboxing videos comment section. But they could have used Heartless or any of the other critters as characters to raise, but instead we just have Sora, and I believe you can get Riku. That's one of the special characters. But other than that, it's just Sora wearing various clothes, and that's about it. You're just raising Sora. But of course, if you're a fan of Kingdom Hearts, you'd probably adore this. It's probably right up your alley. Of course, with all the nanos, or most of the nanos rather, they do have cute little animations throughout the day where other Kingdom Hearts characters do make cameos. So there is that. So if you are a fan of the franchise, you'll probably love this. But of course, since I'm not a huge fan and I don't know much about... I think I played like a Game Boy Advance game a long time ago, but I don't think I completed it. But it was fine. Like, there's no reason why I have... Like, there's not really a reason that I haven't played it. It's not like I don't like it or anything. I just have played other games in my time instead of this one. But it's fine. But again, I'm not a huge fan of Kingdom Hearts, so a lot of the references are kind of going over my head. So in terms of ratings for this guy, ease of use is always 10 out of 10 for the nanos. I really appreciate that I don't have to be looking at it multiple times an hour or even once an hour. I can kind of just leave it alone and just feed it every so often, and I'll still get a good character, or, you know, at least a decent character, even if I don't touch it for most of the day, if I'm too busy at work. And I really do like that in a virtual pet, because I do have a fairly busy life outside of doing these videos. Of course, I do work, and sometimes I just don't get around to feeding my virtual pets, which is fine, and it means that nanos are perfect for me. So it's always a 10 out of 10. Some people might think that nanos are too easy because they are so low maintenance, but so that's why I give it a rating for ease of use, because it doesn't really reflect on how much someone can enjoy it. because that's just a matter of opinion. Some people really like low maintenance virtual pets and others like a challenge. So if you like a challenge, I wouldn't recommend nanos to you. If you lead a fairly busy life where you don't have time to look after a virtual pet all the time, I definitely recommend picking up a nano. And check out my channel because I have a lot of videos reviewing all the various types of nanos that have been released. So that is pretty exciting because, yeah, there are lots of them. In terms of enjoyment, now, again, personally, I didn't really enjoy this one because I get every single nano, and a lot of them lately have been humans rather than creatures, and I do like raising creatures rather than just a guy, but I still do enjoy it, so I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Again, missed opportunity where they could have gone with any of the critters from the franchise, but they just went with the dude anyway, and a lot of the upcoming nanos are also still people. In addition to that, I feel like lately a lot of the nanos have had increased functionality or increased gameplay, and this one doesn't have any of those better aspects like the Tamagotchi had, where the games change depending on what form you have, and same with the Jurassic Park nano, the food changes depending on what character you have, and also the Toy Story one where the animations change depending on what toy you're raising. And it doesn't have any of those. It feels honestly like a bit of a step back to, again, the Demon Slayer and Jujutsu Kaisen ones. So yeah, it's a 6 out of 10 for enjoyment, just because it feels like a step back from ones we've had more recently. But maybe they just had this planned in advance, so they're using older programming, I'm not sure. But in any case, those are my thoughts for the Kingdom Hearts Tamagotchi Nano. Let me know your thoughts and questions about anything I didn't cover in the comment section below. Like this video for hopefully getting another Tamagotchi that isn't just a dude, and subscribe if you haven't already, because I have covered a lot of other Tamagotchi nanos, especially if you are interested in other franchises that have had collaborations. Check out the videos, and yeah, subscribe if you haven't already. I'd really appreciate it. And of course, I'll see you in the next video. Bye!